a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Katie Holmes. Kate Noelle Holmes is an American actress. She first achieved fame for her role as Joey Potter on the WB television teen drama Dawson's Creek from 1998 to 2003. She appeared in the 1998 thriller Disturbing Behavior. Other film roles include Angeli's The Ice Storm, the comedy drama Wonder Boys, the thriller Abandon, the dark comedy Pieces of April, Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins, in which she portrayed Rachel Dawes, the comedy satire Thank You for Smoking, and the horror film Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. She was also played on Broadway in a production of Arthur Miller's All My Sons, and did numerous guest roles on television programs such as How I Met Your Mother. In 2011, she starred as Jacqueline Kennedy in the Kennedys miniseries, a role she reprised in the 2017 miniseries The Kennedys. After Camelot, recent film roles include Pam Schoenberg in the drama Woman in Gold, bipolar poet Carla in the independent comedy drama Touched with Fire, and Bobbie Logan Chapman in Steven Soderbergh's critically acclaimed comedy Logan Lucky. Her marriage to actor Tom Cruise from 2006 to 2012 led to a great deal of media attention, with the pair being called a super couple and being given the nickname Tomcat in various countries. Early life. Holmes was born in Toledo, Ohio. She is the youngest of 5 children born to Kathleen, a homemaker and philanthropist, and Martin Joseph Holmes, Sr., an attorney. She has 3 sisters and 1 brother. Holmes was baptized a Roman Catholic and attended Christ the King Church in Toledo. She graduated from the all-female Notre Dame Academy in Toledo, where she was a 4.0 student, at St. John's Jesuit and St. Francis de Sales. Nearby all-male high schools, Holmes appeared in school musicals, playing a waitress in Hello, Dolly, and Lola in Damn Yankees. She scored 1,310 out of 1,600 on her SAT and was accepted to Columbia University. Her father wanted her to become a doctor. At age 14, she began classes at a modeling school in Toledo, which led her to the International Modeling and Talent Association competition held in New York City in 1996. Eventually, Holmes was signed to an agent after performing a monologue from To Kill a Mockingbird. An audition tape was sent to the casting director for the 1997 film The Ice Storm, directed by Angeli, and Holmes made her big screen debut in the role of Libet's Casey in the film, opposite Kevin Kline and Sigourney Weaver. 1997-2003, Dawson's Creek and Career Development. In January 1997, Holmes went to Los Angeles for pilot season, when producers cast and shoot new programs in the hopes of securing a spot on a network schedule. The Toledo Blade reported she was offered the lead in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but she never turned it down. Columbia TriStar Television, producer of a new show named Dawson's Creek that was created by screenwriter Kevin Williamson, asked her to come to Los Angeles to audition, but there was a conflict with her schedule. I was doing my school play, Damn Yankees, and I was playing Lola. I even got to wear the feather boa. I thought, there is no way I'm not playing Lola to go audition for some network. I couldn't let my school down. We had already sold a lot of tickets. So I told Kevin and the WB, I'm sorry. I just can't meet with you this week. I've got other commitments. The producers permitted her to audition on videotape. Holmes read for the part of Joey Potter, the tomboy best friend of the title character Dawson, on a videotape shot in her basement, her mother reading Dawson's lines. The Hollywood Reporter claimed the story of Holmes' audition has become the stuff of legend, and no one even thought that it was weird that one of the female leads would audition via Federal Express. Holmes won the part. Paul Stupin, executive producer of the show, said his first reaction on seeing her audition tape was, "That's Joey Potter." Creator and executive producer Kevin Williamson said Holmes has a unique combination of talent, beauty and skill that makes Hollywood come calling. But that's just the beginning. To meet her is to instantly fall under her spell. Williamson thought she had exactly the right look for Joey Potter. She had those eyes just stained with loneliness. While Dawson's Creek was met with mixed reviews, Holmes attained national attention. Holmes was soon on the covers of magazines such as 17, TV Guide, and Rolling Stone. Jancy Dunn, An editor at Rolling Stone said she was chosen for the cover because every time you mention Dawson's Creek you tend to get a lot of dolphin-like shrieks from teenage girls. The fact that she is drop-dead gorgeous didn't hurt either. During her time as a series regular on Dawson's Creek, Holmes' first leading role in a film came in 1998's Disturbing Behavior, a Scream-era Stepford Wives Goes to High School thriller, where she was a loner from the wrong side of the tracks. The film was recut from what the director intended. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times wrote her character, Rachel, dresses in black and likes to strike poses on the beds of pickup trucks, and is a bad girl who is in great danger of becoming a very good one. Despite the fact that it received mixed reviews and was not a huge financial success, the actress won an MTV Movie Award for Best Breakthrough Performance for the role, and also received a Saturn Award nomination for the part. Holmes, though, said the film was just horrible. In 1999, she played a disaffected supermarket clerk in Doug Liman's ensemble piece Go. The film received excellent reviews and made a profit, and Holmes herself was liked by critics. The same year, in Kevin Williamson's Teaching Mrs. Tingle, which he wrote and directed, Holmes played a straight-A student whose vindictive teacher threatens to keep her from a desperately needed scholarship. Also in 1999, she had an uncredited cameo with Dawson's Creek co-star Joshua Jackson in Muppets from Space, which was filmed in Wilmington, where Dawson's Creek also filmed. The year 2000 saw Holmes feature in 2 film roles. The first was in Wonder Boys, directed by Curtis Hanson, from the novel by Michael Chabon. The film told the story of a creative writing teacher at a university, with Michael Douglas in the leading role. Holmes had a small role as Hannah Green, the talented student who lusts after Professor Grady Tripp. Many leading critics at the time took favorable notice to Holmes in the film. Kenneth Turn of the Los Angeles Times said she was just right as the beauty, with kind of a crush on the old man. Her second feature film during 2000 was The Gift, a Southern Gothic story directed by Sam Raimi, and starring Cate Blanchett. She played the antithesis of Joey Potter, a promiscuous rich girl having affairs with everyone, from a sociopathic wife-beater to the district attorney, and is murdered by her fiancé. Holmes did her first nude scene for the film, in a scene where her character was about to be murdered. Her appearance was lamented by Variety's Stephen Kotler. In Ohio, the scene met with disapproval from Russ Lemon writing in the Toledo Blade. Holmes hosted Saturday Night Live on February 24, 2001, participating in a send-up of Dawson's Creek, where she falls madly in love with Chris Kattan's Mr. Peepers character and singing Big Spender from Sweet Charity. In the 2002 film Abandon, written by Oscar winner Stephen Gaghan, Holmes plays a delusional, homicidal college student named Katie. Todd McCarthy of Variety and Roger Ebert commended her performance, but other critics savaged it. During the final season of Dawson's Creek, Holmes played the mistress of the public relations flack played by Colin Farrell in Phone Booth, which was both critically and financially successful. She also appeared as Robert Downey Jr.'s nurse in The Singing Detective. Dawson's Creek ended its run in 2003, and Holmes was the only actor to appear in all 128 episodes. It was very difficult for me to leave Wilmington, to have my little glass bubble burst and move on. I hate change. On the other hand, it was refreshing to play someone else, she said in 2004. 2003, 2009, focus on film career, brief hiatus, and theatre work. Holmes' first starring role post-Dawson's Creek was in 2003's Pieces of April, a gritty comedy about a dysfunctional family on Thanksgiving. Many critics and audiences agreed that Holmes had given her best performance in the film as April. Variety said it was one of her best film performances. Each actor shines, wrote Elvis Mitchell. Even Ms. Holmes, whose beauty seems to have fogged the minds of her previous directors, in playing a brat who is slaving to find her inner decency and barely has the equipment for such an achievement, let alone to serve a meal whose salmonella potential could claim an entire borough. Yet it is her surliness, as well as her intransigent determination to make Thanksgiving work, that keeps the laughs coming. Holmes also received a Satellite Award for Best Actress for the role. On the November 9, 2003 episode, she was punked by Ashton Kutcher. and the next year she was the subject of an episode of the MTV program Diary. Holmes was a contender for the role of Christine Daae in 2004's The Phantom of the Opera, but lost the role to Emmy Rossum. She later played the president's daughter in First Daughter, which was originally to be released in January 2004 on the same day as Chasing Liberty, another film about a president's daughter, but was ultimately released in September 2004 to dismal reviews and ticket sales. First Daughter, directed by Forrest Whitaker, also starred Michael Keaton as her father and Mark Blucas as her love interest. The Hollywood Reporter critic called her character, Samantha Mackenzie, a startling example of how a studio film can dumb down and neutralize the comic abilities of a lively young star. In the 2005 film Batman Begins, she played Rachel Dawes, an attorney in the Gotham City District Attorney's Office and the childhood sweetheart of the title character. Variety was unenthusiastic. "Holmes is okay," was its critics' sole remark on her performance. She was nominated for a Golden Raspberry for Worst Supporting Actress for the film. In 2005, Holmes characterized her film career as being a string of bombs. "Usually I'm not even in the top 10, she said, the highest-grossing film of her career then being Phone Booth. She lamented, "It's not like I have a lot of stuff that's great just waiting for me to sign on to." She also appeared in the film version of Christopher Buckley's satirical novel Thank You for Smoking about a tobacco lobbyist played by Aaron Eckhart, whom Holmes' character, a Washington reporter, seduces. Variety wrote one of the film's sole relatively weak notes came from Holmes, who lacks even a hint of the wiliness of a ruthless reporter, and the New York Times said the cast was exceptionally fine, except for Holmes, who strained credulity in her role. The film ended up a success, even earning a nomination for the Golden Globe Award for Best Motion Picture Musical or Comedy. Also in 2005, Holmes had agreed to play And Shame on You, a biopic about the country singer Spade Cooley written and directed by Dennis Quaid, as the wife whom Cooley stomped to death. But the picture, set to shoot in New Orleans, Louisiana, was delayed by Hurricane Katrina, and Holmes dropped out due to her pregnancy. After her daughter, Say Cruz, was born in April 2006, Holmes took a hiatus from her acting career until 2008. After speculation about Holmes reprising her role in The Dark Knight, the sequel to Batman Begins, it was finally confirmed that she would not appear. Her role was later recast with Maggie Gyllenhaal in her place. Instead, Holmes decided to star in the comedy Mad Money, opposite Diane Keaton and Queen Latifah in 2008. The film flopped. The Canadian press criticized Holmes' performance, while Keaton has long done zany and giddy well, and she and Latifah have an interesting contrast of personalities. Holmes' presence feels like an afterthought. The New York Post, The New York Times, and Variety also criticized Holmes' performance in the film, and The New York Times called Holmes the movie's weakest link. Returning to television in 2008, Holmes appeared in an episode of Eli Stone as Grace, a lawyer, and her singing and dancing was praised by Tim Stack of Entertainment Weekly. Holmes made her Broadway debut in the revival of Arthur Miller's All My Sons in October 2008. She opened to mixed reviews. Ben Brantley of the New York Times claimed, "The neophyte Ms. Holmes is a sad casualty of director Simon McBurney's high-concept approach to the play." He adds that, "Ms. Holmes delivers most of her lines with meaningful asperity, italicizing every word." Clive Barnes of the New York Post was similarly unimpressed by Holmes and had few compliments for her co-stars. He wrote, "John Lithgow starts in a sunny, benign fashion, but eventually finds himself screeching alongside Holmes, looking tough under a glossy wig." However, the New York Daily News' Jodzia Mianovics took a more positive view of her stage debut, writing, "Holmes, a TV and film vet, makes a fine Broadway debut. Her rather grand speech pattern takes getting used to, but she seems comfortable, and adds a fitting glint of glamour." In 2009, Holmes appeared in the National Memorial Day concert on the Mall in Washington, D.C. in a dialogue with Diane Wiest celebrating the life of an American veteran seriously wounded in Iraq, Jose Pequeño. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?